Good evening, and what a spectacular sight awaits us like every evening. And partly cloudy here, but it's pretty chilly, 19 degrees centigrade, barely windy. But Rourkela, as usual, looks absolutely fabulous like every evening. We are already at the halfway stage of the Hero Hockey India League. 22 out of the 44 matches done. Match 23 coming away in just a bit. Gonasika versus JSW Surma Hockey Club. Remember, this match starts at 8:15 p.m. tonight from the Birsa Munda Hockey Stadium here in Rourkela. 22 matches already done. We are approaching the century mark as far as goals are concerned. 94 goals in out of just 23 games. And of course, like always, I plan to surprise you like always. Tonight we have a new addition to our panel, studio panel right here. Of course, sitting with me, if you see this very dashing young man, if you remember him, I'm sure you do, the 1990 Asian Games gold medalist Sandeep Somesh, who we all very fondly call Sandy Sir or Sandy. Sandy, good evening. What a smile, you've won millions of hearts already.
Good evening, Sanjeev. It's lovely to be here on the show.
Sandy, how's the HL progressing for you? You've been commentating with Ashley Morrison in the English panel. How's it been so far?
Well, so far so good. It's been some exciting games, close encounters. So yeah, it's been a good contest so far. Yeah.
Absolutely. And of course, before we proceed with the hockey, let me remind our viewers and actually tell you, Sandeep Somesh actually has a very strong connection with cricket. Now you might be wondering why. Sandeep Somesh was the first captain. Yes, he was the first captain of none other than Rahul Dravid. Sandy, you were Rahul Dravid's captain. Tell us a bit more about it.
Okay, since you asked me, Rahul and myself studied in the same school, St. Joseph Boys High School, and I used to play a lot of cricket and hockey. Rahul also used to play cricket and hockey, and I happened to be the captain of the school cricket team, not because I was
So you're the captain of the cricket team also?
Yeah. Not because I was any better than Rahul, but because I was in the 10th and he was in the 9th standard. And interestingly, at a net practice, I used to fancy myself as a good bowler, an opening bowler, and I used to run into this man, Rahul Dravid, and he never used to give his wicket. I said, "Bhad mein jaake cricket, hockey khelenge."
But was he as good?
But never did I realize at that point in time that I was bowling to the greatest batsman the world is going to see in a few years.
Absolutely,
Right.
and perhaps even Rahul Dravid at that point of time didn't know that he was actually playing under a gentleman who would go on to become a gold medalist at the 1998 Asian Games. Introduction done. That's a man, Sandy man as we call him, Sandy. Sandy Somesh is here in the studio. I will be taking you through this match number 23. The points table, it's buzzing out here. Absolutely electrifying, barring the Tamil Nadu Dragons. Nobody has any peace on their minds. You look at that, Tamil Nadu Dragons already on 15 points, clear of the pack of six games, and after that you can see Gonasika, they're struggling for breath. 4 points out of 5 games, that's Gonasika for you. And Surma, remember they've got only 8 out of 5, but if they win tonight, they're back into the top 2. Sandeep Somesh and I myself will be looking much more closely at the game as we look ahead to what promises to be another big night right here at the Hero HIL. Remember, you're watching this special broadcast. This is Hockey Live. We'll be back with you with the match analysis with Sandeep in just a bit.
रग रग में है खेलों का रोमांच और एक ही महामंच पर भरे जा रहे हैं देश दुनिया के हर खेलों के रंग। ओलंपिक खेल हों या फीफा वर्ल्ड कप के जाबाज प्रदर्शन, शीर्ष की ओर कदम बढ़ाते मेन इन ब्लू, एशियन गेम्स का रोमांच या फिर वर्ल्ड कप बॉक्सिंग के सुपर पंच, हॉकी वर्ल्ड कप के रोमांचक पलों को भी कैद करता आ रहा है डीडी स्पोर्ट्स। देखें हर खेल सिर्फ डीडी स्पोर्ट्स पर।
ये सफर है एक जुनून का, कुछ हौसलों का, जानवरों, अपनी मिट्टी और इसके लोगों से मेरी बेपनाह मोहब्बत का। मैं हूं प्रतीक वासन, एक ट्रैवल जर्नलिस्ट और एक एडवेंचरर।
क्या हाल है नानू?
कब आए मेले में आप?
आप बताओ कैसे हो? मैं बस अभी आया। घोड़ा कैसे दिलवाएगा?
घोड़े चलेंगे सर जी, अभी अच्छे अच्छे घोड़े आए हुए हैं हमारे मेले में पुष्कर में।
इस जर्नी में मैं अपनी कैवलरी यानी घोड़ों और ऊंटों की सेना ले आगे बढ़ूंगा।
दुर्गा माता की जय।
और एक पुराने दौर की जिंदगी का रोमांच आपसे साझा करूंगा।
ब्रेड पकौड़े खाने का मन कर रहा है।
ये यात्रा चुनौतियों भरी होगी पर मुस्कुराते हुए पूरी होगी। बने रहिए रोमांच और साहस से भरी इस दास्तां में हमारी सेना के साथ। द कैवलरी गोज टू जोधपुर।
प्रत्येक शुक्रवार रात 11 बजे डीडी नेशनल पर।
आइए देखते हैं इस सब के बीच हमें कश्मीर कैसा दिखा। देखिए अनसीन कश्मीर विद प्रतीक वासन प्रत्येक शुक्रवार शाम 7 बजे और पुनः प्रसारण रविवार शाम 5 बजे सिर्फ डीडी नेशनल पर।
एक शादी कच्ची उम्र की, जिम्मेदारी रिश्तों के फिक्र की, कैसे खिलेगा अरमान बंद मुट्ठी का।
देखिए ससुराल झुनकी का सोमवार से गुरुवार रात
8:30 बजे,
पुनः प्रसारण सुबह 11 बजे डीडी नेशनल पर।
Welcome back to Hockey Live. This as we count down to match 23. It's going to be another real humding. I remember the Surma Hockey Club planning to go upwards in the points table. They are right now aiming for the number 2 slot. On the other hand, Gonasika were really struggling, rather fighting for a revival in their chances. Sandeep Somesh is with me here in the studio as we look ahead to this another very, what promises to be another thrilling game. If we look at Surma, Sandeep, let's break down their story in numbers, a little analytical look, a little closer look at Surma and how their campaign has gone so far. They've scored only 8 goals. That's one, Sandeep. The least in the league so far. That's not all. You've got 3 matches decided by shoot-offs and only 1 field goal. That's what. They've only scored. There it is. Only 1 field goal scored by the team in 5 games so far. That's not really something they would like to keep on. And thirdly, as I said, 3 games decided by shootout still now for the Surma Hockey Club. That's not all. If we look at the numbers, if we look at the way they have played so far, do you think is that a worry? Does it bother you?
See, that's not all, Sanjeev. Of the 8 goals, 7 have come out of the penalty corners. Right?
That was our next graphic. I was waiting. You already gave out the story.
Right? So that's a challenge for them. They're obviously not got goal scorers up front. And are they over-dependent on the penalty corner specialists? Now that's something that we will have to wait and see. Harman has been amongst the goals.
Yeah.
I think Del Torre has been amongst the goals. But do they have the firepower to get the field goals? That is a challenge one. And as a unit, I don't think they're playing as well as they need to play. I think there's a lot of work that needs to go into that.
Now, if we look at look at just the Surma numbers, you see 95 circle entries, 37 shots, 26 PCs, 7 goals. You're right, 7 out of 26. That's a conversion rate of close to 26 or 27%.
Yeah.
That's the second best in the league, but they would need more from the attackers too, because you cannot really solely depend on the PC takers, would you?
Yeah, absolutely. See, what has happened over the last few years, the defense on the penalty corners has become so good, so very challenging. The charging out is so good. They take the lines and come in line of the, drag flick. The goalkeepers are very alert. So you have to mix it up and you have to get your field goals. If you don't get your field goals going, then it is going to be a challenge.
Absolutely, and we'll try and make a sense. We'll try to give you the statistical breakup of the field goals versus the penalty corner goals strikes for the Surma Hockey Club. I hope the numbers will be up on your screens in just a bit. And as you rightly said, 8 goals, which is the least in the league so far. In fact, Gonasika, who are struggling, who are the second last from the bottom right now, they've scored more than Surma. 7 penalty corner strikes out of 26 PCs, but only 1 field goal. Would you expect them to do more to ease the load on Harman a little bit?
I mean, that is what I would believe that is what would have been their discussion points in the team meetings and in the training. The drills would be probably walked around getting the field goals up front, because the percentage of conversion, 20-25% in penalty corners, is not something you can depend on. And I would say if you don't get the field goals, it's going to be a challenge.
Absolutely. And if you look at the Phil Roper, Nicholas De La Terra, Jeremy Hayward, they have sort of delivered the goods, one would like to believe, for now, for Surma.
Yeah, to a certain extent, but also you need the younger players to put the hands up and get counted, which I think is not happening for Surma as well as they would have liked it to happen. I think that is the point where the coaching and the think tank of the team will have to work around and see how they can put that in place.
Absolutely, and we'll quickly take a look at the goals which are scored by Surma. You see 7 of the 8 have been coming from penalty corners. They haven't had much of success as far as the field goals are concerned. Vivek Prasad Sagar, his role in midfield is as important as these drag flickers.
Well, see, your team revolves around the midfield, right? So we have seen it in this league also, right? The moment your midfielders are doing the job, then the team plays so much better. So yeah, they have to. Vivek Sagar, I mean, a lot is expected from him. He's had good runs, probably in patches, but maybe he needs to be a little more consistent when you're running the midfield. And I think that's where they will have to work around.
Absolutely, and we have seen some stunning hits not only from Nicholas De La Torre, but if you see, we're going to Gonasika. We're going to hang on and come back to this later. But what more would you want to see from a Surma? Of course, they have a terrific star roster, but what more would you like to see from Surma Hockey Club tonight?
Well, so much actually, right?
Tell me.
For the names that they have in the team. To start with, I think they just have to build around getting a better combination up front. Now that is something that has not happened, and hopefully that will change. Hopefully they will do better.
Finally we've got. Finally we have the form guide. As so far, that's goals scored. You see, that's what I was mentioning. 1 they've scored field goal, 7 from PCs. But you look at the goals conceded. Yeah. They have conceded 7 field goals compared to 3 PCs. Would you say the defense has managed it relatively well till now?
Well, considering who's playing at the back, probably a little more tighter. We have big names playing at the back. So yes, to concede 7 from the field and 3 on penalty corners is also a.
In the last game, we saw Harman. He walked out with an injury. That could be of a concern unless he's match fit tonight.
Yeah, he's been amongst their penalty corner scorers. Not just that, even in defense, he mans it pretty well, and he's at the right spot whenever there is an attack on the team. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see if he's fit to play, and that's going to be a factor too.
Right, we will keep on doing this SWOT analysis. We'll look at the particular strengths or perhaps weaknesses, perceived weaknesses, if any, of both the teams. He's already done a little bit with Surma Hockey Club. What one must say, that as the first phase comes to, and we're nearly at the halfway stage, 22 games done, Sandeep, this is number 23. Teams at the bottom will be itching to hurt the ones who are trying to climb up the ladder. And that's what makes this Hero HIL even more interesting. 22 games done and 94 goals on, 50 field goals, 6 shootouts, 2 hat-tricks. So what's in store for us tonight? What's the special menu which he's not telling us? We have a little bit of time. We have to take a small little break. But after the break, we come back and do the rest of the talking.
रग रग में है खेलों का रोमांच, और एक ही महामंच पर भरे जा रहे हैं देश दुनिया के हर खेलों के रंग। ओलंपिक खेल हों या फीफा वर्ल्ड कप के जांबाज प्रदर्शन, शीर्ष की ओर कदम बढ़ाते मेन इन ब्लू, एशियन गेम्स का रोमांच, या फिर वर्ल्ड कप बॉक्सिंग के सुपर पंच, हॉकी वर्ल्ड कप के रोमांचक पलों को भी कैद करता आ रहा है डीडी स्पोर्ट्स। देखें हर खेल सिर्फ डीडी स्पोर्ट्स पर।
ये सफर है एक जुनून का, कुछ हौसलों का, जानवरों, अपनी मिट्टी और इसके लोगों से मेरी बेपनाह मोहब्बत का। मैं हूं प्रतीक वासन, एक ट्रैवल जर्नलिस्ट और एक एडवेंचरर।
क्या हाल है नानू?
कब आए मेले में आप?
आप बताओ कैसे हो? मैं बस अभी आया। घोड़ा कैसे दिलवाएगा?
घोड़े चलेंगे सर जी, अभी अच्छे अच्छे घोड़े आए हुए हैं हमारे मेले में पुष्कर में।
इस जर्नी में मैं अपनी कैवलरी यानी घोड़ों और ऊंटों की सेना ले आगे बढ़ूंगा।
दुर्गा माता की जय।
और एक पुराने दौर की जिंदगी का रोमांच आपसे साझा करूंगा।
ब्रेड पकौड़े खाने का मन कर रहा है।
ये यात्रा चुनौतियों भरी होगी पर मुस्कुराते हुए पूरी होगी। बने रहिए रोमांच और साहस से भरी इस दास्तां में हमारी सेना के साथ। द कैवलरी गोज टू जोधपुर।
प्रत्येक शुक्रवार रात 11 बजे डीडी नेशनल पर।
आइए देखते हैं इस सब के बीच हमें कश्मीर कैसा दिखा। देखिए अनसीन कश्मीर विद प्रतीक वासन प्रत्येक शुक्रवार शाम 7 बजे और पुनः प्रसारण रविवार शाम 5 बजे सिर्फ डीडी नेशनल पर।
एक शादी कच्ची उम्र की, जिम्मेदारी रिश्तों के फिक्र की, कैसे खिलेगा अरमान बंद मुट्ठी का।
देखिए ससुराल झुनकी का सोमवार से गुरुवार रात
8:30 बजे,
पुनः प्रसारण सुबह 11 बजे डीडी नेशनल पर।
Welcome back to Hockey Live. This as we are counting down to the start of match 23. Gonasika, are they planning to do the number on the JSW Surma Hockey Club? That's a big question. Sandeep Somesh is of course here in the house with me as we try and break down the approach perhaps and the form and performance of both teams till now. Gonasika game for redemption. That's the headline. The story of Gonasika, they've managed only 4 points from 5 games. And it's of course they are in a must-win situation tonight to stay in contention for the semi-finals. But if we take a look, Sandeep, at their numbers, as far as the goals scored, they've scored more than Surma. Their primary strength is field goals, as we see, 9-3 for PCs. They've of course conceded 13 goals, 6 apiece in field and PCs, 1 penalty stroke. What's the one thing do you think which is stopping this team? Because they played pretty fast attacking hockey up front.
Well, actually, Sanjeev, when I first saw the lineup of the team, I thought Gonasika were amongst the most balanced in terms of experience with the foreign players and experience of the Indian players. You know, they have a big bunch of players who have a lot of experience with likes of Manpreet and all of them holding the central midfield, which is so important. But to answer your question, I think the goals that they are conceding are pretty much soft goals, mistakes by themselves. That is what has led to the goals. So if they can tighten that up, and remember they are able to score goals up front. The last game we saw 6-5, you know, a humdinger of a game between you know,
Terrific.
Terrific game. I mean, it was absolutely entertainment.
They need to stop the goals. They are good at scoring goals, but they need to stop the goals. And importantly, you know, the likes of Birendra Lakra, Tim Howard, they'll need to be on their toes tonight to stop the Surma attackers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what, because they are pretty confident of getting the goals up front, be it field goals or the penalty corner goals. Right? How are they going to tighten the defense? Be more agile, read the game better, and if good calling from deep defense, I think they should be able to. And it's important, they have to win if they want to be in contention. Otherwise, it's game over.
You're right. You know, I'm, like many others, I've also always loved the underdog story. Who knows? It could be Gonasika's a big night tonight. So what are their chief coach, Paul Revington's plans for Surma? Let's listen in.
Hi Coach Paul, this is a high stakes match against Surma. How has the team utilized the break to prepare?
We've used it well. We've had a couple of training sessions. We've obviously had a few video sessions after our tough double header where both games were very close. And I think the group is well prepared for tonight.
Surma's main goal scorers have been Harmanpreet Singh and Nicholas Della Torre. How do you plan to counter them?
Again, from an improvement point of view, we need to be a little tighter in defense in our own half. We need to reduce the number of penalty corners, obviously, against us. And at the same time, we've got to take our chances to score the other end.
Thank you so much and all the best.
Thank you.
He always seems to be in very good mood, a very spirited person. Of course, he's coached, he's got very notable fellows as his wards. The Indian coach, the present Indian coach, has been coached by Paul Revington. A.B. de Villiers has been coached, but if you look at now, the analysis, 104 circle entries. That shows they have been faster, have played with more attacking intent compared to a couple of shots more. But PCs earned, is that their Waterloo? They haven't scored as many from PCs, only 90 penalty corners and 3 successful strikes. Do they need to improve that?
No, but I just think they're not being over-dependent on the PCs, which is a good thing. They are getting the field goals and you are getting the PCs. So it's a fairly
But what
good
do you
balance.
do? The counter question here is, Sandeep, that what do you do when the entire world game has changed so much that this looks like an aberration for once, where the hero HIL, we have field goals leading PCs, but if you look at the last Olympics, 154 goals, 77 apiece for field goals as well as PCs. So even if you're not reliant, you need to improve, right?
You have to improve. There's no two ways about it. And how are you going to improve from the PC point of view is what I think. You have to look at your variations. You have to get your variations going, and I think that is what is going to get you the goals along with the field goals.
Right, and of course the Soormas, they will be licking their lips in anticipation of this big one. They know they need 3 points to get back to the the top 2. In fact, they'll become number 2 if they win tonight. And you can see the Soormas and their coach, that's Jeroen Bart on your screens, the man who will be speaking to us in just a bit. But importantly, the Soormas know they need to strike more. It cannot be overtly reliant on their skipper. Right, Sandeep?
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. Yeah, so, like I said, if you don't get your field goals and keep your defense compact.
That's what I say. That these guys don't score enough from penalty corners and these guys are not even scoring. But that's a good sign. There's the skipper. Looks to be fit. And if we do have Harman turning up from the start, of course it will be a spectacle because he is one of the best drag flickers, best known drag flickers in the world as we speak, and we'll be expecting some more magic from Sarpanch Sahab. Alright, on that note, let's go across to Jeroen Bart and listen to what he has to say.
Hi, Jeroen. Your defense has been very strong, but just 1 field goal in the last 5 games. How do you plan to address it?
Yeah, do better. We have to get more quality inside the circle, work together to find the net, and it's something that we were working on for a few weeks now, and I hope to see some results today.
Thank you so much for talking to us. All the best. Yeah.
Seems to be in a hurry. Jeroen Bart was in a hurry. He didn't have much time to answer our questions. How do you see this game? Your prediction right now? Who would you keep ahead?
Well, being in the commentary box, I cannot make a prediction.
No, you have to. Right now, you're not in the commentary box.
But I think it's slightly tilted in the Gonasika's favor.
Gonasika's favor?
Yeah.
So, are we going to see an upset? Upset in the sense, if you look at the current points table.
Yeah, if you look at the points table, yes, I think Gonasika is going to pull off an upset. And
what's the one thing you think Gonasika will come out in a much improved version with, other than the fact that they will try to score more from penalty corners?
Well, keep a tight defense. Remember, they have conceded 6 goals also in 1 game. So they don't want something like that happening. They will have to ensure that defense is kept tight, and at the same time, they have enough fuel to go up into attack.
Absolutely. A quick look at the points table, and if Gonasika are to lift themselves up, remember Delhi SG Pipers virtually out of the reckoning. They've got only 4 from 6. Gonasika have 4 from 5. But they have a win, they've scored more goals than as compared to Surma. And if Gonasika can pick up the game with the likes of Mandeep, Hundal and Walker combining well up front and find a few more goals, who knows, we might be in for another humdinger, for another big surprise. Final word, yet again, let me try and push you. This is going to be an outright win for whoever it is, or is this going to go to a shootout?
It's going to be close. But I think we're going to have a result in regulation time.
Going to have a result in regulation time. Right, and I'm not going to ask him whether you're going to see the century of goals, because we are right now on 94. 94 goals exactly from the matches which have been played so far. 6 more tonight, who knows, we might as well see 100 being crossed. Hero HIL has been a fascinating joyride for hockey fans in India and across the world. On that note, Sandeep, Somesh, myself say thank you to you for now, goodbye to you for now, as we come back with the restart of the game.